So every week we go through and we edit some templates live, just do some workflows, show different tips and tricks on ways to do color changes, maybe easy ways to make adjustments within the design, just kind of based on whatever comes about. So this week we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to deal again with a set, but I'm getting ready to reintroduce a product that longtime subscribers probably recognize. It hasn't been around since COVID. But Templates Manager is currently under development, getting really close to a beta release. So I'm going to use that today to work within and kind of show that workflow. And one of the reasons we're bringing it back is just because it makes life so much easier, in my opinion, to keep things organized while working with your clients. So let me grab a couple files here real quick, and then we will get started. And this week we're going to work with An Evening in Paris. Now, doing this one on the fly. Haven't normally I pull these out of the widget selections. This week I didn't. So let's just get started. We'll pick some colors and make some modifications and go from there. So first thing we'll start with, I always like to start with the print designs. So we're going to be using a 2x1 postcard format. So using a Templates Manager, I'm going to go in here and make a quick duplicate. I'm just going to put in today's date and then put postcard. Not anything more elaborate than that, but if you're using this yourself, you can make it fit however your workflow is. And in my case, I would normally have the date of the client and then a client name afterwards. All right, so let's get started here. First, I'm going to open up the Photoshop file. Definitely something we always do. And I immediately see that I do have a font that is missing. So if I pop back over here, I can go to info. It's going to open me up a HTML file. This is our README HTML file. Inside of here, you're going to find everything from the fonts, how to get support, what files are inside of it, supported printers and whatnot, links out to the template on our website, etc. So in this case, I am missing, let's see here, the gravitas. So let's see this one here. All right, so this is a Google font. So as you can see, it brought me right into it. I'm going to click Get Font. I have some other ones in here from previous sessions and work I've been doing. So you can either do these all together, which is always nice. If you don't have all of the fonts, just get them all into your basket and then download them. But if you just want to do a singular, just click this little guy right here. All right, we're going to open that up. And wrong folder. Let me get into the right folder here, and I'll bring it over here on the screen. All right, so I've got my zip file. I'm just going to bring that font over into here. Typically, I'll create myself a fonts folder. I like to keep everything kind of clean in. We're going to go in here. We're going to go right click, install for all users. Oh, yeah, 1 second here. Chris, there is there's 3 stacked dots on a button. If you go in there, you can adjust the view. I don't recall which one it is. I do know that some of our regulars have played with that. But if you click on the adjust view, you should be able to make it into a singular on that. Give that a try and let me know if that does not work. If not, we'll stop and see if we can figure it out. All right, so yeah, just let me know if that does the trick for you. All right, so we're going to get that is installed now. Sometimes Photoshop does not immediately see that. It does look like it did finally do that. So I'm going to hide the guides and watermarks that can get in here easily. Then we're just going to check that our fonts are installed. So this one does not look like it went in right. Or did it? Let me see. Oh, wait, no, yes, it did. Sorry. I do apologize. It was stacked like that. So, like I said, I don't have a set of customer things on this one, so we're just going to make some colors up and go with it. So I always create a main layer that I like to stick these colors into. Just got a don't watch option. There's a just view. And you should be able to go to the spotlight. So if you go to adjust view and then go to spotlight, you should be either that or the sidebar. One of those two should give you the best space. You can also shrink in the number of tiles in that there. So give that a try. And I'll stick that in the chat there for you, just in case you weren't able to see that. Maybe it's not gonna let me. It looks like. All right, so like I was saying, I do not have a customer specific set, so we're going to create our own colors for this one for these exercise. So create a layer. I like to make a colors layer, and I think we're going to go with a pink on this one. So let's draw ourselves a box that we can fill with some color. And let's go find ourselves a pink that we like. So maybe kind of getting into the purples almost. Let's go with that. All right, and then I think we're gonna make gold into silver on this one, and then we'll stroke with some black around the fonts here. So as you can see, this is a simple design, so we're just going to move through the color manipulation on this using the hue saturation layer. So as you can see, the whole background is together. So I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna make the hue saturation layer visible, and then come up and click on Colorize. Now, when you do the Colorize, a lot of times it always brings it down to 25% saturation. Don't freak out if you see everything. We're just going to kind of move that over, and that's going to get you your colors back. All right, so we're going to get ourselves over into the purples here, and let's go ahead and bring this on down here. Now, I always recommend, we're not always going to get an exact color, and so we just want to get really close, because print's going to be different than when we are on a screen. So as long as we're really close, our clients are going to be more than happy with that. So, but we can definitely do better than what we got right now. We need to get a little bit more. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah. So I think that's going to probably get us pretty good into the ballpark there. All right, so as you can see, it does make quite a difference on that one. Next up, I'm going to use that actual color in this drop shadow underneath of the font. So we've got some effects going on here. So whenever you see the FX here on the right with a little arrow, that means there are some layer effects applied to it. So let's expand that, and I'm going with, that's going to be our drop shadow. So we can see it right there. If we turn it off, we'll see it disappear behind the Paris. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this color box here. And one of the reasons I like to make the color layer is now we can just use a color picker here real quick. Grab that exact color and kind of see how that looks there. I think since we're dealing with a shadow, I would go ahead and make that a little bit darker. Just make that stand out a little better. And then I'm going to, because I can see already that I've got the same thing behind here. I'm going to show you a trick on that. So I'm going to come here. Everything looks good. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to come down to I always slide by. Here we go. Copy layer style. I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to come up to an evening in. So as you can see, we've got that font there. I'm going to right click again. And this time I'm going to click paste layer style. And that's going to duplicate things. Now on this one, you can see the font's smaller. So it did make the spacing a little bit further. So I don't necessarily like that. So let's go see what we got going on there. This is another way that we can deal with this, is to come in. So we've got a shorter distance. Let's click on this guy here. Come down here and just grab it from there. Oh, man, I grabbed the wrong one. Let's try that again. Drop shadow. And you can double click on any of the specific effects and that will open up selected for you, which is always kind of nice. So let's try this again. Grab that purple. There we go. I do think it might have grabbed a little darker purple. So another thing you can do is grab here. It immediately highlights this. So let's do Control C to copy. Come back over here. Open that up. We'll do a Control V to paste. And there we go. Now we look like we are in unison between them. Now I do see that behind the Eiffel Tower, we do have some blues, definitely a navy from before. So let's see if we can highlight that and go ahead and change that. So there's the Eiffel Tower. So, okay, once again, we've got a drop shadow on this. So it's gonna make our life easy. We'll just click the color picker. We've still got the color code. That hex code is in our computer's clipboard. So we're just gonna paste that in. And there we go. So as you can see, that did change that. And then the last thing, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna stroke this. Originally I was gonna do it in black, but I think we're going to give a dark purple a try here. So let's start here and then we'll drag it on down. And instead of being perfectly black, we'll have some purple hues in there, which will work out nice. And we're gonna copy that color code and go do the same thing here on this stroke. All right, so as you can see, that's kind of coming along there. I do like those colors better. And then the other thing we were talking about is a very common thing that we get asked in support is how do I make it silver versus gold and that. So we're gonna go do that real quick here. So we've got frames, we've got a moon, and we've got the Eiffel Tower all in our sparkly pattern here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the hue saturation above the Eiffel Tower. We'll start there. And I'm going to come up here. I do like to still use the Colorize because sometimes you don't want to be just desaturated. Sometimes you want to put some color back in. So we're going to do Colorize. Makes it look funky. We're going to keep desaturating here until we get into those silvers. And I like to go ahead and bring in some of those pinks and purples that we've got in the design already. So then as I slide that down into here, there actually are hints of it in there. It's not necessarily you'll see readily, but you will subtly see that in the back of your mind as you're looking at the design. We can get away, I think, with a little bit more on this one. All right, so now let's look at what our numbers are here. We'll even this up for easy memory. So we're going to be a hue of 300, a saturation of 18, and a lightness of 0. So we could duplicate this layer, or we can just go over to the other layers and put in 300, 18, and 0. So I'm just going to go that route. So I'm going to come up here in the overlay. And another trick that I've shown before, but I do like to use, I'm going to go up here while I got my move tool selected. I'm going to click on auto select and I'm going to make sure I'm on layer. Now I'm just going to go click on one of these frames. You'll see it did select frames. I'll unclick that so that it doesn't mess with me if I click somewhere. And then right above that, I'm going to enable its hue saturation layer and we're going to colorize. And we're going to put our values of 300, 18, and 0 in, and you will see our frames are now very similar. We may want to play with, since those sit in front, maybe brightening them a little bit, but there we go. And then our last one is, let's see, we've got a light post and a moon. So let's grab the light post next. Again, using our auto select. There it is, above it. Now we're going to go with hue set, 300. Let's make sure we hit colorize first. That is a very important step. Colorize, 300, 18, and 0. Brings us right into that pinkish rhinestone color. And then we need to get our moon last but not least. Colorize, 300, 18. All right, and then for our final thing, let's go ahead and I live in Ontario, so I am going to go ahead and put that in there. Let's call it Ontario High School. Now, as you can see, I did this intentionally because sometimes our designers will type in uppercase on designs, and then when you go in and type in normal, you get what you see here. We can fix this real quick without having to type uppercase. We can come up into our type options. See the 2 capital T's? We're going to click on that, and that's going to make everything uppercase. And that is going to be, let's see, we do have a little bit of yellows. I'll zoom in here. Yellows on this light burst. So let's go ahead and also make that into the silver. I don't think we want to go as far as we did with the other colors, but let's see how it looks initially. Actually, that cleans up quite nicely, so we will go with that. And then we do have the golds in the background. I don't really mind those, but we're going to do it for sake. And let's go find those. Those I think are our stars, and yes, they are. Colorize. You can see once you get your initial color figured out, it does move along quite easily and quickly to manipulate the different ones. Again, like I said, you could just come in once you set one like this one, and we could go layer, duplicate layer. You can also do that by right-clicking here and do duplicate layer. So if we did that, we can make a second layer, drag that above the other one, and do it that way also. So with this, that would be kind of where I would leave this one at. I do like to always show how to easily make this into a single overlay. And to do that, we're going to use a layer mask. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to come, and I'm just going to close up some things just to make it a little easier to see. I'm going to click on the background layer, and then I'm going to hold my my control key, and then I'm going to left click right on the thumbnail of coordinates.png. And you'll see that I've got little marching ants now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go select inverse. You can also do Control Shift I, and you'll see that now the ants have flipped around. Make sure I'm still selected on background layer, and I'm going to come down here at the bottom. I'm going to do a layer mask, and then I'm going to hide the photo spots layer group. And now I have transparency where the photos go. I can go into my export as menu, make sure I have PNG and transparency selected. If I do not, it treats it like a JPEG. It'll fill it all white. Then I'm going to click export. And then we're going to do print template and export that out. Come back to our folder here, and there it is. So we have exported out a single overlay file from within there that is compatible with any photobooth software on the market. All right, so next we're going to move along and work within our buttons and then also our screens. We'll move to the screens first. And just because I'm showing it off, we're going to come back over here to Templates Manager. I'm going to scroll down. I've already purchased and now have the screen set. I'm going to go duplicate, put today's date in again, and I'm going to put screens. And I come here. I can now click to open, I think. Oh, might found a bug. Like I said, this is still in beta. I do think I found a bug on this one, so we're going to just do this one old school. Got to find my folder here real quick. There we go. And we're going to work with the portrait version of this. We'll zoom that in a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. All right, so let's start quickly with our text edits, and we'll just come in here and once again, we will force that to uppercase just so we are consistent. And now we've already got our settings, so we should be able to do this really quick. And that was kind of the key of today, was just to show how we can work through the workflows quickly and make things happen. So let's go ahead and get in here. We're going to, I like to always be on Move Tool, but we're going to go Colorize. And we're going to be able to just use those same settings again, except for I don't remember that setting. So let's go find that one. Super easy to do. Expand this back out. And we are 303.73 plus 16. 303.73 plus 16. There is our bright purple. Now another thing we can do is come here and click this. Let's go find out what this is. It's not give. Oh, there we go. So that was. There we go. I think that is our right color, but let me double check that because we do want to make our drop shadows look the same. So I think that is a little different. So let's go this route. We'll just go set a second one here using that. Yep, that is a little lighter, so glad I did that. Come back over here. Now we're going to go in and set those background strokes. First, let's background shadow. And we will stroke it, but we did do that darker last time. There we go. And then we're going to come up to Paris and do the same thing. Along with our drop shadow. And then an evening at. Again, I'm doing these differently because we do have some different elements on these as far as distance on drop shadow and stroke thickness. So treat each one of them uniquely. All right, so now we can go back to those numbers that I did remember, and I don't anymore. So we'll come back over here and look. And we are 318 and 0, and that is going to be all of our golds. So we will just start working through that again. Colorize. And we'll come on up here to our moon. Colorize 318. And we're back with the Eiffel Tower again. And then last but not least, we are calling our shine right here. And we did see that that worked just fine before. So now we have flipped over to our silvers. Now when we're saving our screen, we're going to hide this sample set of buttons. And then we are going to just export it out. Whatever format you would like on these. PNG is a flawless export, so there is no loss, commonly called lossless. And then JPEG is a lossy format, better compression, still does a really nice job, does a good balance there. On this one, we're going to use the JPEG, and we'll go ahead and just call that screen. Now, in some photo booth softwares, you're able to do a start screen and then also do a second screen style for like when you're on the share screen, behind live views and that. So on those, I like to come back in. Let's get rid of all of our text and just kind of really simplify things. Maybe hide the street light and Eiffel Tower along with this shine. Okay to have a city down at the bottom and then some subtle items. Then you just export out a second screen. We could just call this screen secondary. You could do 6 of them too. That's a good question there, Chris. But yeah, you could do as many as you want with that too. Been a while since I've been in Social Booth. I don't remember if you upload the button separately or if it behaves like Breeze Booth, where you upload a static graphic and then draw hotspots on the screen. But if it's that case, then you definitely can put your different button sets in, export those out, and that would work well to fill out those 6 screens. But otherwise, if it's just that you're looking for a background, then you just kind of keep uploading the same one. All right, so I'm gonna just turn these back on because I like to have them on. And then we do have our buttons. So we include a few sample buttons inside of here. You're more than welcome to always use these, but we do have button sets that accompany the designs. And we're gonna go see if we can find another bug. So let's see here. We're gonna find our Midnight in Paris buttons. We'll duplicate this. And let's see if it will open. Yes, same bug. I already see what's going on, but we'll get that fixed, and let's go ahead and get our file opened. So what we have here is a series of buttons. We've got iconography with them and then text. Sometimes they get flattened out, sometimes they don't. I prefer them not to be flattened and into a layer group, and I'll show you why. All right, just go ahead and put them into a layer group. Just call that buttons. And now I can come in and it makes it easier for me to manipulate the color within there. So what we're going to do is bring one of these out. I'm going to put a layer mask on it. And we're gonna hide our watercolor. Let's zoom that up a little bit, just so we can see what's going on. So we got a little bit of a glow with this. And let's just see what we can do here in the 300 scale. So this is a black. So what I think we'll do is, yeah, so we can make that. I think we can make that with a little bit of a pink hue to it, the purple hue, and then see how that works with our background. So we're going to come down here to the button itself. Sometimes they're singular, sometimes there's multiple layers. This one is a simple one, so I'm going to just edit the hue saturation layer on this. We're going to use that 318 and get a little bit of that purplish glow to it. This does have a stroke on it, and still playing around with this a little bit. I don't know that now that I'm seeing it that I necessarily like that to be in black. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to brighten this up so that it, let's see, do we like that? Yeah, I'm thinking the black actually might be the way to go on that. We just don't like that outer color on it, this outer glow. So let's come in here and do this. We're going to grab the outer glow. We're going to come over here and grab our brighter pink, and I want to just make that as bright as it'll go. Now that's a little strong for my liking. We can back down the opacity until we get something a little bit better, and maybe even make that size just a bit more. All right, and then I'm going to right click and once again go find that copy layer style, and then this way I only have to do it once. I'm going to come down and find each icon. We do have multiple layers. I'm going to hold down the control button and click on each one of these. And the reason I'm doing this is we're going to, in one shot, apply that layer effects to all of these. So we're going to right click again, and we're going to paste layer style, and now they all have that. So easy peasy. And then we'll leave the white with the black background for the photo and other text. So as we go to the other text, they will behave the same. If we come here to GIF, you'll see. So, and from there, we're going to export out the file set. So I'm going to do export again, PNG. I always name them BTN, and then whatever it is. This one is photo. I just want to do this to show you how I work with these normally. So now I have my button in here. So if I want to see this visualized, now normally you're going to upload this button into your PhotoBooth software, but sometimes you're going to also create a static file that has the buttons on it. And at a minimum, you want to make sure your edits look good. So this is our first edit. We're going to bring it in here. Let's get that up into the bar there and scale that down. So we are in the ballpark there, and just see how that looks. It might not stand out enough. We might want to brighten up that. Another way that we can quickly do that is to come back here again. And instead of exporting this time, we're just going to kind of brighten that up a bit. And this time I'm just going to do a Control A, and then I always forget the term they use, but copy merge. So it's a Control Shift C. And then we can just come in here and paste that. So you don't have to go through that while you're trying to figure out if you like that. I do like that contrast much better. So that is where I would go for working through the rest of my buttons that I'm going to use. We do have 16 different buttons. Not all softwares use all 16, so you edit the ones you need for your activation and your software. But you just come through, we'd export that out, and we just work our way through grabbing the ones that we need. So that's how I would work through the theme. That is a common workflow for me. We are reintroducing Templates Manager. I did want to share that, and you can see where that will actually make things a little bit easier, especially once I fix a couple more bugs and get that released out to y'all. A lot of cool new features that are going to go into that, tying in the widget and stuff, trying to make that whole process very seamless for you, from customer intake to actually getting the designs into your PC, loaded up, edited, and sent back out to them. So that is everything that I had for today. Does anyone have any questions? All right, if not, thank you for tuning in this week and joining me for another live edit Q&A. I do it every Thursday, but next Thursday I will be taking it off. It is Thanksgiving, so I figure we probably shouldn't do it on that day. And then, yeah, we will be back the following week. I think it's December 4th. So watch your inboxes for that or social media. I'm sure I'll post some stuff out there. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I hope everybody has excellent events.